Hola, en este video voy a explicar el presente del subjuntivo. In this video I'm going to explain the present subjunctive. And I'm going to do it in English because I feel like it's already a hard topic to explain. So I don't want you to try to figure out what I'm saying in Spanish when I just want to get the concept. So basically the present subjunctive is called, first of all, it's called present subjunctive because it comes from the present simple. Like the grammar, it comes from the present simple, okay? So in order first to grab the present subjunctive, I want you to understand that exists three worlds in Spanish, okay? So I'm gonna make some notes in here to show it to you. The three worlds, I mean three worlds of conjugation, okay? So here and in my Google Docs, I'm just gonna grab like a little note here. And what I mean by three worlds of conjugations is you have, in the whole Spanish language, you have either the indicative, okay? So you have the indicative, indicative, it's working now. Indicative, okay, and then you have the imperative, and then you have the subjunctive, subjuntivo, okay? So with these three words, the indicative is the one that you saw from now, past tense, right? In el pasado, presente y futuro, ¿sí? Presente, pasado, futuro, condicional, all those are the indicative, everything that you've probably been doing from now so on. And the indicative, the goal of the indicative is to show time, okay? So everything that you can put, I'm gonna do this very rudimentary here, everything that can put bit in a timeline, right? Then it's called indicative because indicates time. That's the goal of the indicative. The imperative, the goal of the imperative is to give, we saw this in another, but I'm not gonna go too much into it, but it's to give suggestions, orders, and advice, and they had to put imperative or imperativo like orders just to put it a name, okay, because it's the way you're conjugating. And subjunctive, okay, here we go. So subjunctive is most of the books, and so most of the books, they say that the subjunctive is like the books or all the material I read to explain this, it says that it's like basically a probability, right? Or wishes, emotions, emociones, probabilidades. But yes, it's that. But I feel like we shouldn't base the whole explanation that. Basically, the subjunctive is like any other subjuntivo from now on. And for you to have an idea, subjunctive is directly a grammar way, a different grammar that you've been seeing, and that certain structures of the subjunctive, certain structures triggers to put the subjunctive. And yes, end up being that in those situations that triggers them, they end up being probabilities, hypotheses, emotions, okay? So I explain to most of my students basically that the subjunctive, and actually you know what is called present subjunctive because it comes from the present simple, the grammar. By the way, these two guys comes from the grammar of this one. Yeah, so everything that you will see in grammar, it comes from that. Okay, so in here you have like a list of different, that I will show it to you in a second, a list of grammar structures, let's say verbs or expressions that triggers the subjunctive. So let me show you this before we get into the actual grammar on how you use the subjunctive, or any of them for that matter. So you see verbs that require, verbos que requieren el subjuntivo. So all these verbs you see requires the subjunctive. In here I did a summary, so for my students I'm gonna either print it to you and send it to you. So for example, all of these verbs that goes with no, it triggers the subjunctive. So no, creo, que, and the subjunctive, okay? But these ones in affirmative it goes with indicative. Do you see that it's like a, so you have to familiarize with all the structures that are in here. It's a summary and all the most common structures in order to learn basically what the subjunctive is. The vocabulary you can see by yourself. I mean, we're going to see some in class, but it has to be the vocabulary related to the class, okay? So let's start with the grammar then. And then let's go into the structures that's used and see what I mean. So here, can you see in the grammar, here you have the present simple. I'm comparing on purpose with the present simple, present subjunctive. And also on purpose, I got this verb like tener. Remember, it's yo tengo, like the present. So in here, you can see clearly that the subjunctive comes from the first person of the present simple, right? Because, for example, tengo, you see tienes, tiene, it doesn't follow the same pattern. But in here is clearly you are exchanging the o, right, for the a. Can you see that? So tenga, tengas, tengamos. In the case of you see these verbs is er, so it changes to a, and these verbs is in ir, and it changed to a too. But in here, in ar, it changed to a, which e in English, okay? And so you see here, hablo. But in here, I put the example of tener because in this one that is regular, you see, you don't know where is it coming from. It comes from the first person. But here, you see, you can tell immediately it comes from the first person. So basically what I want you to do with your teacher or with someone that can help you is like practice. Generally what I do is in class, I practice with a ball, and basically we pass like, I don't know, for example, you always have to use your hands or emotions or something when you're learning, like kids, because that's the way that you're gonna memorize it the most. So let's say, I don't know, my mouse is like a ball or something. So let's say the verb tener, which is tengo, right, in present tense, tienes, but I care only about the first person because it changes to the rest. So tengo, so tenga, tengas, tengamos, y tengas. So you can throw a ball or something like a piece of paper, like you put it in a bowl or whatever, so you can practice with someone else. That's what is nice to practice with the teacher or with a group of people, right? And once you get the grammar, first let's move a little bit with the irregulars now. Probably you want to know, okay, in this case, what are the irregulars? So let me see, I don't know what is not clicking it or showing it the other way. Just give me 1 second. So okay, I don't know if you here, so you see, you can hear it, right, see it right now. So okay, so in here you have the regular ones, and in here, so you see, why do you think this one is irregular? And I will show you right now. Why do you think this one is irregular? You see here you have follow the third person, you see vuelvo o to a, can you see that? O to a, like in er, that's correct. But then in nosotros, you see that this is the stem that you should be following. In nosotros, it just stays volvamos, okay? Like the same, like remember, it was everything except nosotros. And generally this will happen to the stem changing verbs, that in nosotros, like it just stays like, it doesn't do volvamos, it's volvamos, okay? And it will happen to you with verbs that change, like for example, e to ie, Por ejemplo, pensar. You see, pensar es yo piense, pienses, but it's nosotros es pensemos, okay? Or O to UE, for example, poder, right? Pueda, puedas, but nosotros is podamos, you see? And also happen, you see, with dormir, durmamos. Okay. Then these are the completely irregular ones. There are not many of them, and actually, in order to remember what I read one time, I don't know, in the internet, that it says dishes, I think it's very useful. You see, it's DISHES. You see, dishes. So de, des, de, demos, then. You see, it's completely irregular. Why? Because remember, like in yo, you see in the present tense you have doy, boy, right? You don't change the o to anything. It doesn't end with o. You see, no termina con o. Entonces, you see sea. So all those, you see regular. This one's unfortunately is by heart. Again, you can use the ball to practice it, or some kind of an activity that you use your hands or your body. And in the one that though I want to talk to you about is the haya one. So you remember that haber is the infinitive of the verb I. So haber, you have I, which is there is, there are, right? Hubo, there was, there were, right? There was or there were. I, there is or there are. And then you have an había, there was, there were. Remember the imperfect. So you have había, there was, so there were too. I'm not gonna go with imperfect right now, but we saw that earlier in this class. And then you have haya, okay, haya, which is the subjunctive. The subjunctive of, and I want it only to use it in the third person right now, because the rest of the person hayas, you use it in the compound subjunctive, and I don't want to get there anymore. It's like haya ido, right? But I don't want to get there. What I want to get is just, it's like haya, okay? And hayamos in the third person only, haya. I hope there is a lot of parking. Ojalá haya, and estacionamiento. So now in these cases, it's just very easy. For example, every verb that ends, you see in gar in here, everything that ends in gar, you have this problem when you do the subjunctive, because you see that if you put llegue, well, you should change it to your llego, change the o for it will sound yeje if you don't put this u. So that's why you put the u for all of them, and the same happens for the rest. But just focus maybe in tragar, which means to swallow. In llegar is to arrive, that is important, and pagar to pay. And then in here, in these other ones that they all end with, if you can check it, with car. You see, CIR. So buscar is to search. So for example, buscar is you change, you see, if I put o to e and I don't put this QU, you sound busé. So what I want to is that it sounds busqué, and the way that it sounds busqué is with the QU, okay? Busqué or practiqué, right? Practiqué, sorry, that's the past tense. Practique. Okay, careful the pronunciation like I did. Busque. Ojalá que busque un trabajo, for example. I hope he looks for a job or something like that, which would trigger the subjunctive. Okay, so now what I want to do is to show you the uses of the subjunctive. So for example, and one thing that I want to tell you is that don't worry, this is just the first class of the subjunctive. From B1.1 class 6 to C1, the subjunctive is being seen everywhere. Well, plus practicing fluency, right, and other stuff. But so don't worry if you get overwhelmed right now, and it's just the first step of getting to know it, just to have an idea of what it is. But you can start getting familiar with these structures that I will show you right now that triggers that subjunctive, that it makes it do that. So for example, and in each of these structures there is there is the wishes, like I was saying, desires, but just basically base it in that you get familiar with the structure, because you know that this structure plus que will go subjunctive. Okay, so let's check it out here again. So for example, sentimientos y satisfacción means feelings of unsatisfaction. So let's check these ones. For example, me alegro de que. Remember, this is like the use of me alegro de que. So it's alegrarse, me alegro, te alegras, se alegra, nos alegramos. It's a reflexive, okay? So me alegro de que. You see here how you change this. I'll give you 2 seconds. You can check it and rewind it, but it's que te diviertas, okay? Porque divertirse es reflexive, and in the present tense is me divierto, and you change o to, you see, o to what? Se divierta, o to a. Then, let's do the next one, por ejemplo. Tú te alegras, like the opposite, tú te alegras de que tus hijos ir. Ir is irregular, so es que vayan al colegio. You see, you get happy that your children go to school. Let's see the next one. For example, me alegro de que tú tengas un nuevo trabajo. You see, we're getting familiar with the first structure, which is alegrarse de que. Alegrarse de que. And that you have in the spreadsheet that I gave you in the beginning, where you have all the structures of the different verbs that follow. You see, so alegrarse de que, so me alegro de que, o me alegré de que, but you see that's preterite subjunctive, but always like would trigger the subjunctive, subjuntivo, okay? So even though, sorry, I put the mask, that's why. And even though, yes, you're showing like, I don't know, happiness or an emotion, the thing that I find controversial is that I feel like I can express emotion with the present simple. You know, I think I can put your me alegro, you see, me alegro de estar aquí. The problem with this one, me alegro de estar aquí. You see, I'm happy to be here, right? But the problem with this one, it doesn't have the que. You see, the que is the one, and it's making trigger that subjunctive that I'm talking about. So, so that's what I find, that it's better to get familiarized with expressions, and then, okay, and then you will see when you have a doubt, like when you have a doubt between the, if it's indicative or subjunctive, there is when it's gonna be important if this is a hypothesis, or this is a fact. So in those cases, it's going to be important that you know that it's an hypothesis, because you have to make the differentiation. But in the meantime, no, just get familiar with and little by little, because there are a lot of structures that get the subjunctive, so many rules you're gonna say, but little by little get familiar with them and use it in a conversation. Okay, so that's what I'm giving you, different like images, like, so we can practice it like in, you know, in an image or in a story that you say, oh, you see, we see a story, oh, me alegro de que esté mejor la economía, that is better the economy or something, you know. So the same like this one, me alegro de que tú tengas un nuevo trabajo, okay? So, let's move here. Por ejemplo, this one, you see? I'm gonna do this one, obviously, since I'm not here with you, I'm doing this online, but I'm gonna say everything, but I want you to practice it with your teacher or in different situations, okay? So, ojalá te gradúes, okay? Este año, I don't know. And then we'll see the next one. Por ejemplo, this is to show sadness. Es una pena o una lástima que pierdas tu trabajo. Pierdas el juego, sorry. Pierdas el juego. You see, it's a pity that you es una lástima que pierdas este juego. O por ejemplo, es una pena que estés enferma. You see, it's a pity that you're sick, right? These are all, comentarios, like comments about something. Es una lástima que no tengas dinero. It's a pity that you don't have money or something. And then worry or fear, let's say. Me molesta que haga frío. That's in Chicago, for example. I find it annoying that it's cold in Chicago. You see, but you use, since it's me molesta que, this thing is triggering the subjunctive. Que haga frío. Then the next one. Me molesta que me dejen plantado. Then no soporto que él pierda su trabajo. Right? Or no soporto que, the structure that I'm talking about, fumes al lado mío. You see, fumes is the present subjunctive. Me preocupa que tú tengas deudas. Okay? Then nerviosismo. Me pone nerviosa que... Me pone nerviosa que él deje la puerta abierta, for example. Or me avergüenza que trates mal a tu hijo, that you treat bad your son. It embarrasses me. See, all of these are showing emotional expressions. I'm surprised that, me sorprende que estés cansado. I'm surprised that you're tired. Me sorprende que tú engordes. This is a little bit mean, but I'm surprised that you are getting fat or something. Yeah, engordar is to gain weight. So me sorprende, this is the one I was talking about. Me sorprende que haya estacionamiento. You see, this is in the third person. I'm surprised that there is parking. And then me enoja que, it makes me mad that, me enoja que llegues tarde, you see. And then, me molesta, there was one, me enoja que comas en la cama. Makes me mad that you eat in bed. Or no soporto que, again, haber tráfico, haya tráfico. So as you can see, we're seeing no soporto que, me alegra de que, me enoja que, deseo que, for example, encuentres trabajo. Or quiero que laves la ropa. You see, quiero que. Espero que, this one is the, espero que, I hope that vengas a mi fiesta. Tengo ganas de que, I feel like, tengo ganas de que tú vayas a la playa. I feel like that you go to the beach. I feel like, tengo ganas de, significa I feel like doing something. Or I feel like that you do something in this case. Ojalá, ojalá is like I call it like a wild card. Ojalá, because ojalá means I hope or I wish. It depends on which one you use it. It will mean either or. So ojalá, when you use the present subjunctive, por ejemplo, ojalá tengas, this is very common, un buen fin de semana. I hope you have a good weekend. And this means I hope, you see. But if you use it with parnter, it's subjunctive. Ojalá tuvieras un buen fin, we'll see that later. Then you use it like I wish I had. But we'll see that later. But for now, ojalá, take it as I hope in this case. And then, what another one? Ojalá que puedas, you see, puedas terminar la maratón. I hope you are able to finish the marathon. Then, these are expressions. So you remember I talked to you about there were either verbs that come with it and expressions. So for example, these are que cumplas muchos años más. Generally you say to a kid because I don't know, people just don't want to get older once you're an adult. I hope you turn much more years, let's say. This is a very common one for kids. O que te mejores. I hope you get better. Every time you see someone sick, que te mejores. You see that there's expressions that directly goes with the subjunctive. It's like putting implicit that ojalá or espero here without, it's implicit, right? The same here, espero que te mejores or que te mejores are the same, okay? And then, en cuanto llegue. So, en cuanto llegue means as soon as I arrive. En cuanto, first of all, En cuanto es as soon as. As soon as. En cuanto llegue, te llamo, okay? As soon as I arrive, I call you. You see this one that goes subjunctive, so every time that you put en cuanto goes plus, you see, plus subjuntivo. So en cuanto is as soon as I arrive. This one, it could go with present tense too. I don't want to get there right now, but it could go with present tense or indicative. And in this case, I'm just gonna give you a comment, like en cuanto llegue, it means I'm not 100% sure they're gonna arrive, or I'm not 100%, for example, en cuanto llegue a casa, te llamo. And this one, en cuanto llego, no, actually no, it just goes with the subjunctive. En cuanto llego te llamo. No, en cuanto llegue a casa te llamo goes always with subjunctive. Sorry, I made a mistake. So en cuanto llegue a casa goes always with the subjunctive. And then we'll see other ones that there's a mix of them. I thought this was one of them, but it's not. Okay, so then en cuanto, you see, termine de correr, te llamo, I'll call you. As soon as I finish running, I call you. So let's see in the next, I don't want to get this video too long. I know it's a hard topic, so start practicing with those ones. In the sheet that I showed you at the beginning, it has like a summary of all the structures, like this one, for example. In this case, we were seeing the ones like, you remember we saw in 8.2 in the class, me alegra de que, me interesa que, a mí me gusta que, a mí me cuesta. So all those ones, if you put que, goes with subjunctive. If you don't put the que, it doesn't go with subjunctive. So start to get familiar, as I will keep seeing in class. In the second part of the video, I'm going to show you the rest expressions that you can use with present subjunctive. Okay, so